Temple, Dr. John M. Temple, paging Dr. Temple. Oh, yes, Mr. McKay.
Who's lost?
Mr. Temple.
Temple. Don't know him.
He's a doctor.
Yeah, well, the hotel full of programs this week. You know, medical convention. Hey, I spotted a guy in the barber shop. Dr. Benedict.
No, this is Dr. Temple.
Well, I guess it ain't the same guy.
Dr. Temple, paging Dr. Temple, Dr. John M. Temple, please. Paging Dr. Temple. Dr. Temple.
Good morning,
Mr. McLaglen.
Hello, Henry. Oh, good morning.
We had a mail this morning.
Oh, really?
Dr. Temple.
What, no candy or flour?
No, just fan letter.
This smells nice. Did you say fan letter? So you're a writer of mystery stories, are you? The mystery to me is why I ever bought your book. This is what I think of it. She certainly gave it a lot of thought.
Mr. Wilson would like to see you. He's in his office.
Oh, thank you. I'll pick these up on my way out, Henry.
So I says to the mug, I know you stole it, I says. So why don't you confess?
So what'd he say?
He said, now listen, mister, I didn't take it. So I said, now listen, I may be just a house detective, but the guy ain't born yet that can put one over Andy McCabe, I said.
So what'd he do?
So we returned the stolen piano to the Dream Prince here.
Well, knock me down with a feather bed if it ain't the great author himself.
Hello, Sherlock. How is the mastermind? As it's laughingly called. Hello, Tessie.
Oh, Mr. Blackwood, I finished your book last night.
Did you like it?
Like it. It's wonderful. The way that mystery was solved. Well, I just don't see how you do it.
Nice. Anybody can solve a mystery when they write their own answers. Sure. But take me. When I work on a case, I've got no answers. I start from scratch with nothing.
And end the same way. Well, so long.
That guy burns me up.
Greetings. Mr. Wilson in?
He's expecting you.
Ah, the farmers are still with us.
No, it's the medical convention this week. More doctors are interested in my visiting hours.
I see. An apple a day. Greetings.
Roger. You know Claude Harvey.
Oh, yes, of course. How are you? What are you doing away from your bank?
Well, that's only one of my duties. I'm also on the board of directors here.
Oh, I see.
We're combining parties tonight, Roger. Ours and Harvey's.
Good. Then we'll have a real New Year's Eve.
We meet at my house at 8 for cocktails and then come here.
Oh, I don't believe I know where you live.
Well, I'll pick you up.
Fine.
Wait until my daughter hears about this. She's always wanted to meet you. She's read every one of your books.
Lending library, or did she buy them?
Bought them.
Good. That's a practice that should be encouraged. Well, I'll see you boys tonight.
Right.
Bye.
So long, Roger.
Well, how about it, Toots?
I said no.
Oh, every time I ask you to go out with me, you say no.
And that's what I'll always say.
Now, what are you hinting? That you don't like me?
Yes.
Well, it's certainly nice to hear you say yes for a change. Hey, tell me what's wrong. Maybe I can fix it.
All right. Try fixing that.
What is this, hero worship?
Good morning, Mr. Blackwood.
Good morning, dear.
I promised room 320 your autograph this quarter.
Pleasure.
Crime detective, declares Mr. Blackwood, is really no great trick at all. There is just one simple rule to remember.
Why, Mag, you never told us you could read.
The face is the mirror which reflects man's inmost thoughts.
A quotation from the Chinese, my laundryman.
Do you really expect people to believe this bunk?
It's not bunk.
Do you mean to say you can look in my face and tell me what I'm thinking?
Why, of course.
All right, go ahead. Well,
Start thinking.
I am thinking.
That's funny. All I get is a blank. Let's try someone else.
How about Joe there?
Let's take an intelligent face for a change. For instance, take that girl sitting there. Study her face.
What about her face?
She had a 9 o'clock breakfast date with a relative, someone she hasn't seen for a long time. At the moment, she's in a huff, a 12-cylinder huff.
Do you mean a pan tells you all that?
Elementary, my dear Sherlock, elementary. She's sitting near the dining room. Breakfast date. It's now 9:20. Usually dates are made on the hour or half hour. Her date is late. Hence the aforementioned huff.
Yeah, but the relative, where does he come in?
Again, allow me to direct your attention to her highly decorative face. Notice how intently she stares at people, which proves she's not sure of the man she's going to meet.
Yeah, but a relative. That's a pretty long shot.
Do you suppose such an attractive girl would wait 20 minutes merely for a boyfriend?
Sounds like storybook stuff to me.
I'm right. I'm $10 worth of right.
Let's make it 15. Then I can have a real celebration.
It's a bet.
All right, how are you going to prove it?
You tell me.
I got it. We'll ask her.
That's using your head.
I'll say it is.
No, I said it is. I beg your pardon, miss, but aren't you waiting for a relative?
Yes. Do you know my uncle?
I'm sorry, I don't.
Now, it's all right, lady. I'm Andy McCabe, the house detective.
You seem rather upset. We thought we might be of some service to you.
Well, my uncle, Dr. Temple, arrived here last night for the medical convention, and we were to have had breakfast together at 9. I do hope nothing's happened to him.
Say, was it you who was paging him before?
Yes, and I've been phoning his room, but there's no answer.
Well, if he's here for the convention, he's probably upstairs.
Now, what would he be doing upstairs?
Sleeping it off. What's his room number?
940.
Well, suppose we have a look, shall we?
All right.
Let's see. Shall I get 15 single dollars, or 3 5s, or a 10 and a 5?
I hope this isn't putting you out.
Not at all. Might be putting Mr. McCabe out a little, but,
Olive!
Harry, what are you doing here?
Oh, passing through, on my way to the office.
Look at you, your eyes. Where have you been?
Why, I was up all night working on a set of drawings. Oh,
May I present Mr. Prentice,
Oh, excuse me, Mr. Blackwood.
This is Mr. Blackwood.
How do you do? Oh, this is Mr. McCabe, Mr. Prentice.
how are you?
I'm sorry you haven't told us your name.
What? Oh, I'm Olive Temple.
John, I'm sure. Yes, we're just going to see if there's a doctor in the house. Well, come on, join us. Come on.
Who are they?
I'll tell you later.
Don't bother, it really isn't important.
You're being very silly.
Am I?
Yes.
This way, miss.
There, you see? He is in.
Shall I wake him?
Please.
Funny.
Oh, something's happened, I know it.
Well, there's one way to find out. Why not open the door?
Oh, shit.
Looks like the doctor's been sitting up all night with a sick friend.
Dead to the world. Hey, Doc. Snap out of it.
We better wait in here.
What is it?
It's all right. Mac will take care of it.
Please,
Don't worry.
please tell me, what is it? What's happened?
He's dead.
Oh,
Shall I help you, Doctor? Please, my hand doesn't seem very steady today.
Your occupation, Mr. Prentice?
I'm an architect.
Now, where were you the night
Sherlock. What do you make of that?
Pretty expensive bags. Looks like Dr. Temple had dough.
Does it or does it not seem odd that those bags are strapped and fastened?
Huh?
I see it does not. Dr. Temple intended to remain here for a week. You know, the medical convention.
But
The natural thing for him to do upon arriving would be to unpack his bags, wouldn't it?
and these bags ain't unpacked. Well, Pete,
I got the dope you wanted, Chief. Dr. John Mason Temple of Seattle, Washington. He arrived yesterday at 6:40.
good.
It was a perfunctory examination, of course, but unquestionably heart failure.
Heart failure, huh? Well, miss, are you ready to identify the body?
You think you feel strong enough?
Of course. I'm all right.
Olive.
Better take her in the living room, Mac. Don't stand there like a fool. Get some water. Can't you see she's fainted? I got you. Smelling salts, Doc. Take the pill out of that chair. She must have been keen about that Temple guy to pass out like this. Here, Pete. Give me that. Yeah. Is that better? Come in. Oh, I beg your pardon. What? Olive, what's happened? Just a minute. Who are you?
I'm Dr. Temple.
What?
Oh, Uncle John, you gave me an awful fright.
Say, what's the gag?
Gag? I don't know what you mean.
Doctor, you must forgive our brusque friend here. Perhaps you can tell us something about the occupant of this room.
Oh, you mean Chambers?
Who's Chambers?
I haven't the slightest idea. I met him last night for the first time at the bar.
Yeah? Who introduced you?
No one. He offered me a drink and introduced himself.
Yeah, but how did he get up here?
I invited him here for a nightcap.
You mean an all-night cap? That bottle suddenly took an awful beating.
Well, we may have had several drinks. The stuff was so powerful it knocked me out. I'm sorry, dear, that I overslept. But I didn't leave a call. I intended to go to bed early, but we sat and
Say, Chambers spent the night here, did he?
we exchanged rooms.
Yeah? Maybe you'll tell me why.
Who are you?
Just a minute, Dr. Temple, please. I'm Mr. Wilson. I'm in charge of this hotel. Mr. McCabe is our house detective.
Oh, I see. Well, Mr. Chambers told me that he originally tried to get this room. He said he spent his honeymoon here, and it held sentimental attachments for it. So he asked me as a personal favor if I wouldn't take his quarters across the hall.
That's a rather unusual request, Doctor.
I'll say it's unusual.
No, I said it was unusual. What time did you leave Chambers?
About 11, I'd say.
11 o'clock, huh? Did you see him put this card on the door?
No. He must have put it there after I'd gone. I mean, if it was on the door.
Well, why didn't you report the change of the room to the clerk downstairs?
Because it was late for one thing. Besides, I intended to do so this morning.
Oh, yeah?
I resent this man's attitude. I feel as though I'd committed a crime.
No one's accusing you, Doctor.
If you want information about Chambers, why not question him?
Because he's dead.
He's dead. Heart failure.
Have a look, Doctor. You may be interested. I mean, professionally.
You better go downstairs, dear. I'll meet you in the dining room.
All right.
Oh, your paper.
Well, thank you. I'm through with it.
By the way, are you staying at the hotel?
No, of course not.
I see.
Feel better now, don't you?
Darling, I'm sorry I behaved so badly. But when I saw that man, that scar on his face.
Oh, don't think about it anymore, dear. Did you notice how the pupils are contracted? Almost to a pinpoint. Observe the features, contorted in pain. As symptomatic of convulsions.
Just what are you suggesting?
Chambers obviously did not die of heart failure, Doctor.
My dear sir, I've been practicing medicine for over 35 years.
And I'm a toxicologist.
A what?
An authority on poisons.
Do you mean to say
That man died of an overdose of drugs.
drugs? Make a note of it.
I got you.
Never mind, I'll make a note of it.
Dr. Temple is right. A tube of quarter grain. That's a lethal dose, isn't it, Doctor? I found it under the table there.
He wasn't an addict. I examined his wrists and forearms for marks.
This don't belong to you, does it?
Of course not. If I require anything of the sort, I can always get it.
Yeah?
How long would it take that drug to become active?
About half an hour, I'd say. You see, at first giddiness sets in. That's followed by drowsiness and stupor. And when the poison progresses, the breathing comes slow and stertorous. And the pulse weak and feeble. poor chap. I wonder why he did it.
Do you mean it was suicide?
Unquestionably.
Why do you think so, Doctor?
He must have had some lucid moments when he could have summoned help. Why didn't he call me? He knew I was a doctor.
Yes, a poison expert.
Just what are you inferring?
It's quite possible he didn't know he was dying.
He locked himself in, didn't he?
Did he?
Well, he must have. You said that sign was on the door outside?
He didn't say that. I did. Phone the police. Have them come right away.
I got you. Hello. Get me the...
You don't want everybody in the hotel to know about it, do you? Sap. Use the payphone. Downstairs. I got you.
Doctor, did Chambers seem depressed last night? Not especially. He didn't say much about himself, except that he and his wife had separated.
Did he say he was interested in sports? Horse racing, for example.
The season's over. Even a child knows that.
Thanks for the information. You see, these glasses are not in the case. It's a fair assumption, then, that they were in use.
Maybe he was just cleaning them.
For next season's racing, no doubt.
It'd be a better view if that house wasn't in the way.
As a matter of fact, it's a very good view. I can almost reach for a ginger ale bottle.
What's the idea?
The 8th floor of that building is directly across the way.
Well, ain't that just ducky?
I wouldn't touch that if I were you, Doctor. You know, fingerprints. You don't want to confuse the police when they arrive.
They ought to be here any minute now.
I know it must seem very strange. I exchanged rooms with Chambers. He's found killed by drugs. I specialize in poison.
Yeah. And you were the last person to see him alive.
Maybe he wasn't. Dr. Temple, will you step over here a moment, please? Tell me, were these chairs in this position when you left here last night?
Almost precisely. I sat here.
Please. And Chambers?
He sat there.
This Chambers glass?
Yes?
And yours?
Well, that must be mine.
That's funny.
Say, would you mind letting us in on this joke?
Why should Chambers' glass be here and yours over there beyond your reach? Unless, of course, a third party sat here.
Yeah. And when Chambers' back was turned, he dumped the stuff in his glass.
It's possible.
Oh, come now, Roger. You can't expect us to believe that someone could dispose of an entire tube of drugs without being caught at it.
That's possible.
Yeah. And it's possible that I'm dreaming.
Yes, that's also possible. Oh, Mac, would you let me have your ring for a moment, please? I'll return, I promise. Really. Thanks. Oh, and your hat, too, please.
Say, what is this? A game of strip poker?
Just the right size, too. Your attention, please. The hand, and don't stop me because you've heard this before, is quicker than the eye.
Well, what we got now? Rest period?
Even you can learn this amazingly simple trick, Sherlock. It's really much more fun when done with eggs.
Now, look here. If this is a gag to get away with my ring, I'm going
I returned your ring. It's in your pocket. There. Now, gentlemen, since 4 pairs of eyes failed to see me put that ring in his pocket, isn't it possible to empty a tube of poison without being observed? The answer is yes. Good morning, gentlemen.
I'm going with you. Now, where were you the night Mr. Chambers first came to your apartment?
You know, Roger, you have me so completely puzzled, I don't know what to think.
Oh, it's very simple, Tony. Chambers was either murdered or he committed suicide.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's suicide. And that's a bad enough break for the hotel.
Well, if it isn't old Fingerprint Pete himself. How's the expert?
Making some progress now that you're not around to annoy me.
Oh, no, we'll have to stop that. Well, Captain, how are the boys getting on?
Fine, thanks, and everything is just dandy, so don't you come snooping around.
I've already done my snooping in room 940.
Now what have you been up to?
I'll drop around later at headquarters and we'll compare snoops. About that empty tube, Tony. I wonder if Dr. Temple was giving you free treatment last night.
Oh, Roger, you don't think that...
I subscribe to the quaint theory that everyone is guilty unless proven otherwise. You too, Tony.
I? What for?
Well, this is your hotel. You have easy access to all the rooms.
Why should I want to kill Chambers?
Because, you caught him stealing hotel towels. I'm going in to see how the doctor's niece is getting along. You coming?
No, I'll see you tonight.
All right, Tony.
What a way to start the new year.
And that's what we ought to do, regardless of what anyone says. We should try and figure this whole...
Ah, the patient's up, I see. And eating a hearty breakfast, may I?
Miss Temple and I...
How are you feeling?
Much better, thank you. Wasn't it stupid of me to faint like that?
Well, that wasn't stupid. That was significant. You said you didn't stay at the hotel last night. Is that right?
I've told you I didn't.
What did you mean by that remark?
Remark?
About the significance of my fainting.
Oh, that. Why did you faint, Miss Temple?
See here, what right have you to...
I fainted because I expected to find my uncle's body on that bed.
Very natural, too, if you'd ask me.
Why do you think I did?
Well, it's possible that your fiendish mind devised a foul plot to do away with Uncle John. And when you discovered that the scar-faced corpse was Chambers, you very neatly collapsed.
But why should I want to kill my uncle?
Isn't Dr. Temple wealthy?
Yes, I guess so.
Has he many relatives?
Just a cousin in Australia.
Aren't you forgetting another relative? Yourself? Wouldn't you greatly benefit by his death?
The fact is, her uncle is very much alive.
And another man is dead. Chambers.
I don't see what he'd have to do with it.
Well, Chambers might have been mixed up in this conspiracy to do away with your uncle. But the doctor very cleverly turned the tables.
I hope the police haven't as horrid an imagination as yours.
I won't sit here and be insulted.
Sorry to see you go.
Well, we'll meet again, I'm sure. Good day, Miss Temple.
Good day, and thank you for everything. Your help and your accusation.
Not at all. I'm glad to be of service. Still sure you're not staying here? All right, you're not. Good day.
What did he mean by that?
How do I know? He's been talking a lot of rubbish.
Harry Prentice, you're hiding something from me.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. It's another woman.
Well, what would I be doing with another woman?
You know very well what you do.
And when them newspaper laddies come, you know nothing, see? I got you. And if they want any dope, let them get it from the press agent. I got you. And if... Never mind. I got you. Oh, Mr. Blackwood.
Hello, Sherlock. What's the trouble?
Well, I've been doing a lot of thinking.
You do look exhausted. Better take it easy.
I mean about them opera glasses. You know, Mr. Chambers must have been using them for something.
For what?
That's just what I can't figure out. For what?
Now, you come along with me. Maybe I can help you.
Where are we going?
Cross the street.
What's the idea?
Find out who Chambers was spying on.
But I'm telling you, this is the 8th floor we're on.
I know it. That's 940, right across the street.
How do you know it's 940?
I pulled the blind myself. All windows down.
Where do we go now?
Down the hall. 2 windows down. Here it is.
Well, the next thing to do is to find out who lives here.
It's a good idea. We might try a Ouija board or consult a fortune teller. You might even knock.
Huh?
Knock. Meaning to rap sharply for admittance.
Yeah, but suppose somebody answers it.
That's the object exactly.
We're out.
So we. Oh, waiter.
Hey, just a minute. Who lives in room 847?
Mrs. Blake.
Yeah? Who's Mrs. Blake?
I don't know, sir. She's new here. She keeps to herself and doesn't talk to anybody.
Did you bring any ginger ale to her room last night?
No, sir.
But there are bottles in her room.
Well, then she must have gotten them after 10 o'clock. That's when we go off duty.
Thank you.
How did you know she had ginger ale?
I saw the bottles through those field glasses from Chambers' room. Oh, Mac, what delicatessen near here is open all night?
Olson's. Peltman.
Good, we're off to Olson's.
Good morning, Mr. McCabe. Just a minute, please, Mr. McCabe. Thank you. You would like some corned beef, maybe?
No, thanks. I have some. Listen, Olson. Did you make any deliveries for the Taylor Arms last night?
Huh?
The Taylor Arms.
Room 847.
No, last night was on my partner, Hans. Maybe Hans.
Where is Hans?
In the back room. He just now went to sleep.
Let's see Hans.
Hans! Hans, wake up! Hans! Hans! Wake up! Hans!
What is wrong? I just this minute was falling asleep, and now you have to wake me up, huh? Ah, Mr. McCabe, good morning. Please excuse my Nachthemd. I did not know we was having company. Olaf, please to store, who is waiting on the customers, yes?
So listen, Hans. Did you make a delivery to 847, the Taylor Arms, last night?
Now let me see. 847. Yeah, sure. 4 bottles of ginger ale and a package of cigarettes. I delivered it myself. Almost 12 o'clock it was. Something wrong, maybe, perhaps?
Who was in the room, Hans?
Now, let's see who was in the room. The Mrs. Blake and 2 gentlemen. No. It was only 1 gentleman. Something wrong, maybe, perhaps?
What made you say there were 2?
You see, the other gentleman, he was in the next room, and he was wearing a blue serge suit. Olaf, please, to store! Somebody will steal! I only saw the man's back who was wearing the blue serge suit.
Did you see the man who was with Mrs. Blake?
Natürlich. Selbstverständlich. Gewiss. Sure. Something wrong, maybe, perhaps?
What did he look like?
I didn't see so good, but he was a man.
Come. Was he tall, short, dark, or light?
You ask me so many questions. Ah, yeah. On his face, there was a big scratch.
You mean a scar?
Scar, scratch. What is the difference?
That scar. Say, that must have been Chambers.
Thanks, Hans. And putting 2 and 2 together, the answer is at least 3.
What do you mean, 3?
Chambers, Mrs. Blake, and the man in the blue serge suit.
The more I think about it, the less I understand.
I'm not at all surprised. I mean, what happened?
What do you think happened?
Well, Chambers was evidently trailing Mrs. Blake. Last night he found out where she lived and somehow managed to get the room facing hers.
What for?
I thought we covered all that. He spied on her, and what he apparently saw was a heaping eyeful.
I get it. He phoned her. He bawled her out. She saw red and ran across the street. With murder in her heart.
And poison in her purse. No, Mac, that's not even a good song title.
But why was he spying on her? What was he doing in her place at midnight when Dr. Temple left him in his rooms at 11? Or didn't Temple leave him there? And if there's a Mr. Blake, where is he?
I'm not good at solving riddles before lunch.
But don't you think we ought to...
I think you're right, but you do it. Good day, Sherlock. See you tonight at the New Year's party.
Okay. I'll handle this case myself.
Every man for himself. Here, no fair nursing an empty glass.
Oh, all right, but I warn you, I'll be floating around this place like a blimp.
I'm floating now.
Poor Blackwood, my daughter hasn't even stopped for breath.
And your last book. Oh, that was wonderful. 4 murders and 2 suicides. I just adored it.
Oh, yeah? Well, you'll love the next book. Thousands of people were killed.
Honestly?
Yes, the action takes place on a battlefield.
I'm sorry, Mr. Blackwood, but I've waited long enough.
Oh, well, that's quite all right, I assure you. Thanks very much for that.
There's a water-throwing drunk at table number 12.
I got you.
Okay.
Good evening. This way, Doctor. Table 32.
Excuse me a minute, please.
And I thought bankers were staid, dignified people who use white piping on their vests.
Oh, good evening, Doctor. I'm sorry to intrude like this, but I found this watch in my room. Chambers? You must have forgotten it.
Well, why don't you turn it over to the police?
Well, can't you just say that you found it? There's enough circumstantial evidence now to embarrass me.
All right, Doctor. I'll take care of it.
Thank you.
May I see that for a moment, Tony, please?
Oh, surely. Anything wrong? One of our guests committed suicide last night.
He was poisoned.
Now, Roger,
May I borrow your knife for a moment? I want to open this.
What for?
Read the inscription.
What inscription?
Look at this. So elaborate, so showy. And do you suppose a well-dressed man like Chambers would carry an ornate timepiece like this unless it were a gift? Just as I thought.
To J.C. Swell Scott from the Fidelity Bank Tellers Association. Let me see that watch. I didn't know J.C. was in town.
Do you know him?
Yes, a Los Angeles banker. What's he doing here?
Well, he was the man who
committed suicide. J.C.? I can't believe it.
You sure you didn't do it?
I? What do you mean?
You mind telling me where you were last night?
I had dinner here at the hotel. With me. Don't pay any attention to him, Harvey.
Well, it's quite a coincidence you're recognizing Chambers' watch, that's all.
Chambers? Who's Chambers?
J.C.
You're mad. J.C. is J.C. Blake.
Are you sure?
Positive. Can you describe this Blake? I haven't seen him in over a year, but that bayonet wound is unmistakable.
What bayonet wound?
Scar across the left cheek.
That's the poisoned man, all right.
Now, why did he register under an assumed name?
Oh, and speaking of poisons, reminds me of my aunt. I forgot to send her a New Year's wire. Excuse me. Take off that hat. I know you.
Hello, Mr. Blackwood.
He made me jump out of my pants.
Shame. Such a big boy playing peeping Tom.
I was just trying to get a line of Mrs. Blake. Say, what are you doing here?
I, too, am trying to get a line on the elusive Mrs. Blake.
She's out.
So I gathered when my knock wasn't answered. And since the telephone keeps on ringing, I'm convinced. Mac, give me a light. A light. Mrs. Blake?
Yes?
May we ask you a few questions, please?
About a man with a scar. I'm the house detective at the Medina Hotel.
Come in, please.
Go ahead.
What is it you want to ask?
Mrs. Blake, you might be able to help us if you don't mind. Oh, would you care for a cigarette?
No, thanks.
Mrs. Blake, did you know your husband was in town last night?
Yes, I did.
Did you know where he was stopping?
Yes? The Medina.
He was registered there under an assumed name, you know. The name was Chambers.
Say, what's the idea?
Why did he use that name, do you suppose?
I haven't the faintest idea. In fact, I don't know why I'm being questioned.
Mr. Blake died last night. Of poisoning.
Oh, how horrible. Jim, a suicide.
Mrs. Blake, we'd like to help you if you let us.
There's nothing you can do now. Oh, I shouldn't have left him. But he was so unreasonably jealous. I couldn't stand his rages any longer.
You saw him last night, didn't you?
Yes. He came here about midnight. He obviously had been drinking and seemed very angry. I tried to calm him, but he started to accuse me of being... Excuse me. Hello? Yes. I'm sorry, but I was out. What? Why, I see. Yes, if you wish, but isn't that taking rather a... Oh. By all means. I'm just as anxious as you are. All right, I'll do that. Yes, I promise. Of course not. Goodbye. Yes?
About last night, Mrs. Blake, who was the other man with you?
What other man?
The one in the blue serge suit.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Look, lady, we know for a positive fact...
I'm very sorry, but I really don't care to answer any more questions now. Will you excuse me, please?
Listen, lady, we're only trying to help you. You see...
Thank you. Good night.
But when...
We're very sorry to have troubled you, Mrs. Blake. Good night. Go out. Well, that's that.
She certainly buttoned her lip in a hurry.
But at least we know who poisoned her husband.
Sure. Who?
Whoever telephoned it. All you have to do is find that out.
That's easy.
Oh, is it?
Sure. All I gotta do is to read her face. Yes, Chief? Do you know if the Temple guy made a phone call a little while ago?
No, but the Prentice kid was at the phone when I passed. There he is now.
Wait a minute. Where are you going?
The call that Ames got, I bet he put it through.
Yes, and he's been talking to himself ever since she hung up.
You just made a phone call, didn't you?
Why, don't deny it. I saw you.
I'm not denying it. I called my home.
Is that the only call you made?
Why don't you ask your operator? She got the number for me.
Oh.
I didn't say a word. Prentice. Changed your mind about where you spent last night?
Why, Well, you must know I spent it here.
Yes, I knew that from the hotel sticker on your newspaper. Why did you lie?
With Olive earlier in the evening. My fault, I guess. That's why I got drunk.
Real drunk?
Blasted. I couldn't go home in that condition, so I stayed here. Please don't tell Olive.
I won't.
Hey, your glasses, please. We don't want the new year to sneak up on us empty-handed.
Oh, but Forde, don't you think that you
This is no time to think here.
Hey, where have you been? I looked in every phone booth for you. How long are telegrams you have to send?
Oh, my aunt's a long way off.
Ladies and gentlemen, in just a few moments, we will usher in the new year.
They're gonna turn the lights off. You better stand over there.
I got you.
here's the nutcracker.
Champagne bottle, huh? What's the idea?
Somebody thought he was a boat and tried to launch him.
Yeah? I wonder who. Now, why should a guy want to tap you on the bean? Who's after you, Pete?
Gee, Chief, I wish I knew. It'll never happen again, believe me.
Well, perhaps it was just a playful drunk. After all, it was New Year's Eve.
Mr. Wilson, that champagne bottle wasn't tossed.
No. Some guy deliberately tried to part his head in two.
Well, find a poisoned man in our room, and then someone tries to assault you. Pretty bad business for the Medina.
Now, don't worry, Mr. Wilson. From now on, we're going to bear down. Do you hear me, Pete?
Yes, Chief.
And we're going to find that Indian who tried to scalp you. Do you get me?
I gotcha.
Well, I thought you were never coming out of the dark. Come on, Pete, let's have a look.
Stop heckling me. You literary boys and your half-baked theories. Bah.
I know. What have you found?
Bah's what I said.
And bars, what you mean? Now, about those prints. Let's see them, Pete.
There are 2 sets of prints on the neck of that bottle.
2 sets?
What's more, I recognize this pattern.
You do? Whose is it?
Yours, you skullcracker.
Let's have the other print. Come on. Ah, that's interesting. Now, if I can only get the...
Well, what brings you here?
Hello, Cap. I just dropped in to wish the boys a Happy New Year.
He did not. He made me work, that's what he did.
He did, eh? What's this?
One of the Mardina house detectives was given a headache last night.
Good. For one of the guests, I hope. Say, any connection between this and that stiff in 940?
I don't know yet, but if you let me snoop around...
Let you? Oh, we're going to stop you.
Thanks, Cap. Don't lose those prints, Pete.
And if you find anything, which you won't, of course...
I'll let you know.
Which you won't, of course.
Happy New Year. Ah, Happy New Year, Doctor.
Happy New Year.
Oh, Doctor, about that episode last night, did you notice anything?
I didn't notice a thing.
But,
I'm sorry, Mr. Blackwood, but I've answered all questions I can.
Well, all I want to know is whether this case belongs to you. I found it near your table last night.
No, I never saw it before, and I have no idea who owns it.
Well, thank you, Doctor. I'm sorry. Hello, Tony. Happy New Year.
I see no reason for rejoicing.
Oh, what's the trouble?
Oh, those reporters are after me. They found out about Blake's death.
What did you tell them?
Suicide.
Oh, now, Tony, you know that...
Now, there's no proof that it wasn't suicide. What's this, a Christmas present? I haven't seen this before, have I?
I don't know. Have you?
Boy, all that champagne certainly went to my head. It must weigh at least a ton.
I'm sorry you feel so badly. I didn't want to disturb you, but I just dropped in to return your cigarette case.
My case?
Yes, isn't it yours? I found it on the table near you.
No, not mine. Might be Tony Wilson's.
Yes, in mine.
He's coming, sir.
Thank you. Oh, hello, Prentice.
Hello, Mr. Blackwood.
Say, I'm sorry to barge in on you like this, but...
Well, what's happened?
That dumb house detective thinks you're involved in that Blake business.
I? Why, I haven't had
He found your cigarette case.
Well, he's crazy. This doesn't belong to me.
Are you sure?
Well, positive. Why, that big...
Forget it. I'll handle that foolish flatfoot.
What have you been doing here? Christmas shopping now that the holiday's over?
Now, that one's marked 1. That's 2. 3. And 4.
Oh, I see. Insane novelist upset fingerprint department.
Fingerprint department is going to help insane novelists.
Oh, am I?
I want to know whether any of the prints on those cases match those on the champagne bottle.
Why?
Well, I have a notion, an absurd notion, of course, that I can solve a certain mystery.
And I have a notion. An absurd notion, of course, that you're crazy.
That's not a notion, that's a fact. Now, will you telephone me at the hotel tonight and let me know what you find?
See here, you
now,
idiot.
Please be a nice chap, Petey. I'll even make you the hero of my next book.
What kind of a book?
Fiction, of course.
Wait, Chief. That ain't all. I found these in the suitcase.
Well, I'll be chewed up and spit out.
I had a hunch all the time it was Temple who done it. That's why I searched this place.
Poison expert is right. And there's enough stuff there to kill a regiment.
What right have you to search this room? Well, what do you think?
Now, take it easy, Doctor. Take it easy. You want to save all your strength for the police.
You have no reason at all to be in this room.
I suppose you've never seen this stuff before, have you?
Of course not. What are you trying to...
Wait a minute now.
Oh, this is an outrage. You can't do this thing to me. I'll have you both arrested.
That's a good idea. I'll even go down and call the police for you. Pete.
Yes, Chief?
Keep the doctor company. See that he stays put until I check with Mr. Wilson.
I gotcha.
Right back, Captain. Sherlock! What's all the rush?
Say, I found the guy who polished off Blake.
You did?
Sure, it was Temple.
Really? Any evidence?
Just a half a dozen tubes of drug, that's all.
Now listen, Mac. You can get yourself and the hotel in an awful jam by making a false arrest.
I don't know what you mean.
Be shrewd. Use your head.
What?
Why not trick Temple into making a confession? I mean, if he really is the murderer.
Oh, he's guilty, all right.
Where is he now?
Upstairs. Pete is taking care of him.
Well, if Temple's the murderer, we better be taking care of Feets. Come on.
It's as good as in the bag. Well, what the... Temple's scrammed.
Inelegant, but accurate. He's scrammed.
Look, he hasn't even taken his things with him.
Oh, only Feets was taking care of him. That's not cricket, you know.
He can't get away with this.
Ah, but the fact is, he has gotten away. Do you know a Mrs. Blake who lives here?
Mrs. Blake?
Yes, the woman in 847.
Oh, you mean the woman that always wears gray? Yes, she came in about a half an hour
Thanks.
ago.
Say, did you see Mrs. Blake leave?
Well, yes, just a moment ago. Didn't you see her?
Who was the man with her?
There was no man with her.
Are you sure?
Sure, I am sure. The bellboy brought our bags out, and I called the cab for her. And so, you know, she seemed kind of nervous to me. She kept pulling on a long veil.
Where did she go?
Hill Street Station,
Thanks.
I think she...
Can I get a ticket to Philadelphia?
Hey.
The dame that just left. The one with the long veil.
What about her?
What ticket you buy?
Redmond.
Give me a ticket to Redmond. Quick, come on, hurry.
Aboard! All aboard!
Come on, come on, come on.
Aboard!
Hey, you forgot your ticket.
Now, can I get a ticket to Philadelphia?
Oh, did you by any chance sell a ticket to a young lady a few minutes ago?
There were several ladies I sold tickets to.
Yeah, well, this lady was in gray with a long veil.
Sorry, but... Say, I wonder if it's the same woman that detective was after.
Detective?
Yeah, a big tough fellow with a sort of pushed-in face.
McCabe.
He asked for a Redmond ticket, and I stamped it.
Redmond, huh?
Yeah, then all of a sudden he ran out on me.
Well, I'll be
A telegram for me?
What the?
Is that laughter I hear?
How did you get here?
By automobile. I hear it will permanently replace the bicycle. So you've solved the mystery, huh?
Yeah. And I didn't do it by reading any pans either.
That's a cruel thrust. Well, if you've solved this case, why aren't you with the guilty pair at, the hideout?
You're only gonna dig up. That'll be $3.50.
A cap pistol, huh? Isn't it a little early to celebrate the 4th of July?
I was in such a hurry, I forgot my rod. That's a pretty tough hombre I've got spotted.
Well, I better go along. You might need help.
Look here, Mr. Blackwood. I got the whole thing figured out. And you don't come in on it at all, see? I'm going to make that arrest, and I'm going to make it all by myself.
Still, I ought to go along.
What for?
To catch you when you fall. Something you picked up by the wayside?
I hired this heap, and I'm going to ride in it, alone. Goodbye, Mr. Blackwood.
Well?
Well, what?
Will you ever get over that schoolgirl complex and tell me what you know? Who sang J.C. Blake to sleep?
Who do you think?
Ah, a game. All right, you big tease. I'll play with you. Was it Tony Wilson?
Why, Mr. Wilson?
Because he insisted so strongly it was suicide. We know it wasn't.
Yes, again.
Was it Claude Harvey by any chance?
The banker?
Yeah.
Why should it be him?
Well, Blake was also a banker. It was Harvey who recognized that watch.
You're cold.
I'm not. I'm freezing. What's more, I'm tired of this game. I know whom you suspect.
Who?
Dr. Temple.
How do you know I had him tagged?
Because you said it was Temple when you were at the hotel. And now both he and Mrs. Blake are missing.
What?
There, now I'll make it up to you in some other way. That's it. Are they the guilty pair?
Sure. Blake was crazy about his wife. But what made him more cuckoo was that other guys kind of liked her, too. You see, he was insanely jealous.
Don't interrupt. Just go on.
Well, I figured this way, that she couldn't stand his jealousy, so she ups and scams to Frisco. And Blake finds out where she was, and,
So he ups and scramps to Frisco.
Yeah. And like I told you yesterday, he spied on her through them opera glasses and saw old boy Temple with his squaw. Then you know what he did.
You know, what I want to know is, what brought you to Dracula's castle?
I tailed the dame, see? And her and the doctor's together right now.
Are you certain it was Temple?
Sure. You should see his puss. Way out like this. Gee, Pete must put up a great fight.
Hey, you're wrong about Temple. I'll prove it to you.
You'll prove it?
All I have to do is to ask him one or two direct questions, and you'll see you're mistaken. You're a good dog, Mac. You've got your eye on the wrong tree.
Flat. I would have to hire an old tomato can like this.
Now, remember, you may be old and tired yourself someday.
Flat as a pancake. Get up. You're sitting on the jack.
Huh? Oh, am I?
There's a long, long trail of winding. Bum, 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 bum.
I mean...
Well, it is a surprise finding you here.
I came up with Mac. Him and me followed Dr. Temple up here, and I...
Where is Mac?
Why, he's in the house covering Temple. He sent me down to town to wire the police. Why, here's his message.
Get that hand up.
I don't know what you mean, Mr. Blackwood.
Put up your hand. Come on, way up, way up. Why, turn around.
Say, you got me all wrong. Honest,
Get in there. Go on. Why, put him down. Now, behind your back.
Say, what's the big idea?
Hold still.
Well, at least you might let me know what it's all about.
You planted those tubes in Temple's room, and then brought him out here. How much were you paid to frame him?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Maybe you named your own price. That's blackmail, Pete.
No, who would I want to blackmail?
The man you saw leaving Blake's room the night he was poisoned.
I saw. Say, what?
I am right. You knew too much. That's why he hit you over the head last night.
Oh, now, listen, Mr. Blackwood. Would I be working for a guy that slugged me?
Sure you would, if you were paid enough. Sorry if I frightened you.
What are you doing here?
Where's Dr. Temple?
I don't know whom you mean.
You mind?
Please don't go in there. I had nothing to do with this. Really, I hadn't.
Feats almost did a pretty thorough job.
What's he doing in this house? Who is he?
Someone your charming boyfriend tried to frame.
What do you mean?
Still shielding the man who poisoned your husband?
Jim poisoned himself. He committed suicide.
Yes? Then why did your nervous playmate send you out here? What made him hire a blackmailer to fasten the crime on Dr. Temple? And what was his reason for locking me in your closet?
I don't understand you.
What's going on? Feet! For the love of...
Listen, Chief, let me explain.
Oh, you don't have to explain. It was Blackwood who done it, wasn't it?
Yeah. You see, he,
Yes, hotel guest or no hotel guest. I'm going to take a poke at that egg. Why, he even clunked me on the head.
He did?
Yeah. And then he tied me up like you. Say, he must have been the baby who bounced that bottle off your dome last night.
You think so, Chief?
Why, sure. Come on.
What have you got?
Oh, plenty. Blackwood's been working all along with Temple, see? And here's where we... Hey, where you going?
Why, to surround the house.
You stick close to me. We're swinging right into action.
I gotcha.
I can't believe it. He'd never do such a terrible thing. Never.
Desperate people do desperate things, Mrs. Blake.
But to poison a man in cold blood? No. Only a madman or a fiend could do that.
Only a madman or...
Well, and it's cozy. The nutcracker himself.
Look here, Mac. Beats is in on this. He's been double-crossing you. He was the one who...
Get back, get back.
Careful, Chief. He's got my gun.
Oh, he has he? Well, take it back.
Listen, Mac.
Come on, stick him up.
Confounded idiot.
All right,
Don't
keep
you realize...
calling me names, and I'm going to lose my temper. Got it, Pete?
Yeah.
All right, I can stand for so much, and then get over there. Make me mad, see? Over there. Oh, cut it out, Pete. This is no time for clowning.
Shut up, you big sap.
Why, you...
Say that. Stick him up. Now get over there. Well, wise guy, any more questions you want to ask now?
No. I know all the answers now.
Yeah? Well, you'll never get a chance to tell them.
Stop it, please don't.
Get out of the way or you'll get it too.
Don't hit him again. That'll only wake him up. Thanks, Mac.
You ain't got no right to talk to Medina just that way.
No, no.
Yes? I'm coming.
Get the rest of your things here. We have to leave it.
Good evening, Harvey.
What does this mean?
It means we know who poisoned Blake.
Do we? Isn't that interesting?
There's no use bluffing. You did it.
Nonsense. Would I have identified his watch if I had murdered him?
You did that to remove suspicion from yourself.
This is the most ridiculous thing I ever heard of.
Take it easy. You ain't going no place.
This ceases to be funny. What right has he to make such an accusation? What proof have you that I...
Your fingerprints were on that champagne bottle which struck Pete's.
Yeah? Were they?
So that's it. Well, my fingerprints were on a number of bottles. I poured a great deal of wine that night.
Yes, but the fingerprints on that particular bottle were upside down. You don't pour wine this way.
Very well. I admit I struck him. You'd have done the same thing if you had been blackmailed.
Blackmailed?
Pete saw me leaving the dead man's room.
Do you mean he saw you?
Yes. And early yesterday he called and threatened to tell the police. I can't risk a scandal. So I paid him, even though I had nothing to do with Blake's death.
Then what were you doing in Blake's room?
Trying to calm him down.
Why?
He'd forced his way into Mrs. Blake's apartment while I was there. We had a violent argument. When he left, I followed him to his room, tried to reason with him. I told him his conduct had killed any love his wife ever had for him. I was pretty harsh. Too harsh, I'm afraid.
Well, there goes your case.
Sorry, but Blake did not poison himself.
Why do you still say that?
A man intent upon committing suicide wouldn't have used such a slow and painful means as that drug.
An interesting theory, but only a theory.
Yes. And it's also my theory that his death wasn't planned. It was a desperate measure by a man who had the drugs in his possession. An addict.
What has that to do with me?
When I lit your cigarette, I also picked your pocket. Thanks for telling me where you keep it.
You're crazy. I was merely reaching for a cigarette.
More storybook stuff.
Stuff is right. That kind of stuff.